Hello, Dr. Nettles, and welcome back to another episode of The What and the Why. I'm DNA Chef Jay, and I'm here with Dr. Robert Nettles, the Chief Medical Scientist, founder of the Stop and Regrow program. Welcome, good doctor, and how are you doing today?
Doing great, Jay. Great to see you today. Better than yesterday. And I hear tomorrow better than today. So we're sticking around. How about you?
Doing great. Cannot complain. Hair's growing like a, just be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, the
Anyway,
hairstylists love the program. They
yeah,
get more haircuts.
that's exactly every 3 weeks I'm in there. Anyways, continuing with our series, we've been getting a lot of comment and a lot of people talking about testosterone, and I did some research myself and found is that just in the last 5 years, medically prescribed use testosterone supplementation has quadrupled. However, it seems that most of this is not based on men having documented low testosterone. So that I presume it means that they're using it for anti-aging purposes. I don't know. Maybe you could, you know, explain that. Plus, of course, all the men who are buying it themselves without prescription is to assist with performance and bodybuilding. So how does this all tie in? And let's talk about testosterone and how it affects what you do with hair loss and the whole what's going on with the rumor mill here.
Uh-huh. Well, very good question, Jay. I didn't know quadrupled was the percentage, but I did know that the testosterone prescription writing has gone up, and that probably stems from more of an anti-aging scientific publications that came out from about 20, 25 years ago, and just more and more literature has come out positive on the optimal ratios of the testosterone. Now, the second issue is, especially in the United States, where you've actually gotten more of I'm not, the word isn't downgrade, but you no longer have the same types of physicians in the managed care systems. You have more primaries and nurse practitioners and PAs, and they're great at a lot of stuff. But managing hormones is not something that even a primary care type of physician should do without proper training. More of an endocrinologist, board certified endocrinologist and urologist have been working with the anti-aging community for quite some time. As they understand the myriad of the testosterone molecules, it's not just the giving testosterone to someone and it always goes to the optimal ranges. There's lots of different ways to administer the testosterone. And the easiest way is probably the most damaging way, but it sounds the easiest way. And that reminds me that the broad way to hell is broad and narrow to
Yeah.
get into heaven, right? So it may sound like the right way, but it could go the wrong way. So our research over the last 2 decades have just exploded the knowledge of how that testosterone molecule works and how
Yep.
to optimize it, how to best introduce it into the human body, be it male or female.
Yeah, I was talking to a medical doctor, just personally, in internal medicine doctor, family medicine, and he says, you cannot use testosterone to keep or regrow your hair, period. So it's kind of like, um, it's not, very popular, but for, what a lot of people don't know is that, I know a lot of men that do both, that are on the program. They're working on what they do with nutrition to increase their testosterone as well as with the prescription element. And in fact, I understand that about 30% of men, especially in those elder groups, those older age groups, are taking testosterone supplementation. And the majority of those are through your hormone optimization program. So, if you can kind of explain, you know, hormone optimization, what that is, what you do with that as well.
Uh-huh. So as you alluded to, there's multiple types of testosterone that we can measure inside the bloodstream. And today we can accurately measure the amounts of every single type of testosterone. And there are the good ones, the bad ones, the total ones. And then our research also proved that, hold on, testosterone can change shapes into an estrogen molecule, and
Sure.
the estrogen molecule can change shapes, and that is groundbreaking,
Yep.
Jay. And knowledge from the last couple of hundreds of years since the printing press, right? Knowledge comes from books. And
Yep.
our science over the 6 continents over the last 2 decades proved emphatically that, but we haven't written the book. So how could anyone else ascertain those details of the molecule testosterone? Now, writing a script for someone who has a low testosterone and making them feel good, that's pretty easy to do, Jay. But
Yep.
getting the right molecules of testosterone to optimize someone's biochemistry so they not only get the benefit of energy and lean muscle, but they also get the benefit of hair growth and
Yep.
improvement of skin tone and texture. And how
Sure.
about performance of the heart and the liver and the kidneys? So if it's a new type of science, this precision
Yep.
medicine and precision science. So I appreciate you shining some light on your dedicated channels to speak of ingredients. But I think that's truly what it is when you talk about these testosterone molecules. They're ingredients, right?
Yep.
Everything in our bloodstream is the recipe. Imagine if, Jay, you were going to build a birthday cake, and instead of putting 2 eggs and 2 cups of milk and a little bit of flour, you put 17 eggs and a spoonful of milk. You wouldn't end up with the same type of cake.
Yep.
So could you give someone something that fills them up? Yeah, and it might even taste good, Jay. But
Right.
would it be the best long term for someone's future? And
Right.
the patients we have come to us, usually they come for hair, and I tell them they stay for health,
Yep. For
because
sure.
hair is the tip of the iceberg, right? That's the
Yeah.
thing that gets you in your teenage years. Acne gets you, the hair loss. So we see young people, but we've had the opportunity to reach, to speak with people even in their 80s. And we've had the opportunity to work with people for over 15 years. So once we get the hair stabilized, then we introduce the appropriate testosterone molecules in the ranges based on your blood work. Now that you have a repaired and normal functioning enzyme inside your body, because
Sure.
we repair the enzymes not just in the hair cell, because we realize that the cells can be damaged even in the skin cells. So
Yep.
you repair a lot more cells by repairing that defective enzyme. So once the hormone balance, I call it the Nile River, once your Nile River is optimized, oh boy. And
Yeah.
as far as anything going wrong on our program, Jay, I tell people, you come in here and then you take off on a rocket ship.
Yeah.
If you don't stay on a rocket ship the whole time you're with us, you won't stay on this program, and
Yeah.
very few people leave.
Yeah.
So the
It's
goal is for you to find for the first time what a rocket ship felt like, what God wanted you to feel like when you were down here.
Well, I think people are realizing it's unfortunate that the U.S. healthcare system is a symptomatic based approach, whereas my elbow hurts or we treat the elbow. It's not a preventative type um, approach where like what you're doing, is specific. We know now that hair loss is a cosmetic indication of something that's wrong within the biochemistry. Something else is out of alignment. Something, and that's only one way to tell is to go through the biochemical report card and to use 20 years of research that you have developed. Um, and but the question is in this day and age of all this technology, why it seems like you can do this and other doctors can't. And how come it's so dark in such a modern age? But we're getting there slowly, I think, but it's still it's a very We're still living in the 50s with the U.S. healthcare system.
So Jay, you said it very well. If I could add anything to the comment, it would be that the word that you used was a symptomatic type of a view of the world, and that symptomatic view of the world came from a cellular view of
Sure.
the
Hmm.
world, a cellular worldview, and that happened because of technology. Jay, if all you could see were cells, the only thing you could comment on were cells. The only medical field and doctor groupings you could train would be based on a cellular disease. So
Hmm.
I studied cellular disease. And now we realize we have technologies that are smaller than wavelengths of light. A wavelength of light could be, for example, nanometers, 400 nanometers, but it's a measurable amount.
Yep.
Something can be smaller than something that's a nanometer. Something 1,000 times smaller is a picometer, and that's what we use today, X-rays, and we use picometers so that we can decide and describe the shapes of the molecules inside the body. So
Yep.
we have the technology today to see something that we couldn't see before. When will the scientists learn the molecular science to figure out how ratios of molecules affect cellular responses? Could take decades or maybe never, but it's no fault of anyone's own. It's the dying out of the Western civilization and the
Yep.
replacement of a new foundation that kind of makes things more simple for people to follow. And now, for example, pi 3.14 with a lot of dots is now being introduced into the American education system of rounding it off at 3. Well, you
Yep.
can do that, Jay, and it makes it easier to do homework, but you're not going to see the same world view. So generation gaps are happening today. The groups 20 years ago know more than some of the groups today in certain fundamental aspects of science. So it's an interesting day and time that we live
Yeah.
in, but every generation has its riddles to solve. And the one we solved actually not only supports hair cell health. You understand hair is not a cell, it's a organ. So when people talk about stem cells replacing hair cells, that's the first joke, is not even a fundamental understanding that the hair follicle is an organ. Where does the color in the hair come from in the hair cell? It comes from a cell called the melanocyte. If two cells are working on something, you've got an organ system.
Yep.
So there's a lot more that goes on to the hair loss. And originally, the cellular disease, skin and hair, was treated by dermatologists. And I love dermatologists for skin disease, but I don't necessarily think they can understand how to
Yep.
best determine the biochemistry inside a body. You would need an endocrinologist. So a dermatology endocrinologist is exactly what we're looking for. And we don't have them trained today. So we're going to train them up on understanding the fundamental sciences of precision medicine using molecules as determining the outcomes and not the cellular responses.
Yeah. I talked to a lot of interesting younger individuals in their late 20s, early 30s, and they're starting to realize that the healthcare system is kind of skewed. It's not really all it's cracked up to be. So, like paying out of pocket is kind of a good way to be, and it's kind of the smart way these days. And some of these guys, they're seeing through it and saying, hey, maybe I should, I'm 28. Maybe I should check in and see how this 28-year-old machine is doing. And if my insurance won't pay for the blood work, you're talking about $7, $8 a day. If you can't afford that, uh, uh, stop eating at McDonald's or buying those shiny sneakers or whatever it is. But the best thing you could do is go to stopandregrow.com, get your biochemical report card, and just stop any more hair loss, stop any more imbalance, find out what the cause is. It doesn't matter. Inherited, my father has hair loss, it doesn't, who cares? Just find out
Yeah.
what the cause is so you can do what you do, make the change, and dial in the machine so people are living well into their hundreds. By the time they're done with your program, they'll be living to 110. So it's a whole different world, and there's probably, I'd say, 8% of the people I talk to that get it, that are understanding that that this is a machine that we were given. So we need to diagnostically check in every 6 months or so. Think about if you had a Lamborghini, or if you had something. Our bodies are very high end. You should treat it that way, and we need to check in and have someone like you diagnostically um, put ourselves in the best position for vitality, hair regrowth, and just be the best us we can be.
Well, you got it. Well, I appreciate you doing your job to educate people, Jay. And I would say the last probably couple of weeks worth of clients that have come through the assessments have mentioned they've got quite a lot of value from the videos and the material on the website. So they're
Yeah.
much more educated, and educated people make a good decision. And the good decision is to start with precision medicine. So it takes longer for the truth to get out, but you can't hide the light for too long. Even
No,
a small amount of light will light up a dark room.
that's true. And eventually, hopefully, the medical doctors will, oh, I see why we're looking for this for an individual at this age, how it correlates. But we're not there yet. But that's why we do what we do, Doc Weekly. And so that's it. We'll get this information out, and any comments, people can always send in, and we'll address them. But yeah, testosterone was a big one, and just flat out have people come out and say you can't use testosterone supplementation for hair regrowth. There's no correlation, but it's like, hey, it's quite deeper than that. So you can't just
Well,
speculate without knowing what your hormones and what your testosterone is doing, and what the rest of your biomarkers are at, because it's not quite as easy as it sounds. It's not a
uh-huh.
hints and a keeps and a here you go off the
Uh-huh.
shelves 6 months and you're gonna regrow your hair. Like it's very complicated. It could be environmental, it could be hormonal, it could be something cellular, it could be environmental, could be, who knows. But that's what the good doctor is, what you do. So my job is just to get them in there, get them over the fear of a needle stick and a blood test. And if there is something in there, it's better to know what in your 20s or 30s to make the change than to be a walking statistic and a time bomb when it's too late in your 50s and 60s. And it's hard to turn that thing around when you're talking about diabetes, heart disease. As you get older, if you don't make the change young, you're going to be a statistic, and that's not where you want to be.
Well, I appreciate you spreading the news, Jay. Enjoy the holidays if I don't see you before then.
Oh, I think I'll be checking in with you because people keep chiming in. A lot of people just like to comment, but we're going to address these comments and get the information out there. And
You got it. Now,
we'll talk.
I'm not going to steal any thunder, but I thought I remembered that we're going to be reading a BRC on online live, right? One
Yeah,
of the clients or yourself, right? I think that's coming up in the next couple of weeks.
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
That'll be something to tune in, and maybe we can give away a free reading. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds good, Doctor. Well, you take care of yourself. God bless, and keep on the good fight. And I'll make sure this information gets out to where it needs to be. And until next time, thank you for your time, Doctor. I really appreciate it.
You got it, Jay.
All
Enjoy
right.
the rest of your day out there. Thank
You as
you.